grab your tea, because we're spitting a little. So I have been there. I am cringing in solidarity with the story, and I bet you will be too, so don't judge me too harshly. So, am I the a-hole for leaving my situationship for another guy because the situationship did not want to slap a label on our relationship? Drama incoming. Let's go. I, 27 female, was in the situationship for 10 months. I often felt I wasn't a priority. You reckon it's a situationship? Why would you be? He was giving bare minimum effort. We spoke about it, and he, 29, said that his career was more important to him, especially he was trying to move to the UK as his medical career, doing all the exams, etc. He couldn't commit to this relationship at all. There you go, he's told her very clearly. What's she hanging around for? Anyway, he left for the UK for 3 months. While I was casually using dating apps to meet people with similar interests, I found someone I felt a little attracted to. I decided to end the situationship and explore the new connection possibility before anything even started. Good for her. When I was ending the situationship, I said all I wanted was a label. If we were officiated, I wouldn't have even looked because it will give me some kind of security and certainty. He said, I've already treated you like a girlfriend. The label doesn't matter. All I want is to wife you up. Very confusing, huh? From his point of view, I should have waited unconditionally. I just have to wait for him to manage a secure career, and he will start providing and commit without any timeline uncertainty. Now he paints me as someone who left him for someone else, where my stance is there was no commitment to begin with. Am I the a-hole? Okay. Let's go into this one. Let's delve a bit deeper, because we know we need to, right? And I'm going to be really swish. I'm going to go, whoop. Here we go. Hi. So, okay. Where do we start? Okay, first things first. If you are in a situationship, I want you to go and sit in the bin. Get in the bin. You're silly. You don't need to be there in the situationship. The bin is where you need to be, okay? When you've sat there for a minute, come back out and join us. So, today, I'm going to do something a little bit different, just this time. So you need to listen to me very carefully. I'm going to be holding your hand. Give me your hand. And I'm going to lead you out of this ridiculousness that is called situationships. Because situationships are absolutely ridiculous. And I know that this story, this, am I the a-hole, is quite, it's quite trivial. It's all very superficial. She really left him. Why does she even care what he thinks, From the beginning, he said to her, I don't want to make this an official relationship. You're not my priority. And she did the right thing. He went off, so she went and found somebody else. Who cares what he thinks after that? Harsh as it might sound, who cares? You've left the person, good for you, OP. It's just this whole idea of getting dragged down into other people's dramas in their own lives. If someone is looking for a relationship or looking for, attention, and they cannot define what they want, if they're going to lead you along and they're not going to, lock you in or cut you off, either way, not everyone's obliged to have to like you or want to be with you, then they don't really deserve your time and energy, and you need to move on. And that is me saying it directly to you if you are in a situationship. She was there for 10 months. I mean, what? 10 whole months. Anyway, before I get myself too worked up on this, because I despise situationships. I despise it. They're ridiculous, As I said, today I will be taking your hand. Give me your hand. Give it to me. But just this one time, because I want to give you some really clear advice on situationships and how we can avoid getting into them. Because I think a lot of us can get stuck in the cycle of what we feel is attracting the wrong kind of people, ending up, really wanting to find a partner, really wanting a girlfriend or a boyfriend or that's someone special. And it just ends up like this, maybe starts awesome and then it fizzles out, and why is my life so hard? But we're going to move past that, and I'm going to show you how. because situationships are not real relationships. So like in today's story, OP, she didn't leave this guy. Like she just upgraded, as someone else said in the comments. But she basically upgraded because a situationship. Hey, maybe that's what we should call it, a situationship. You know, a situationship. They're not friends. Friends shouldn't treat you like that. That's not how friendship works. Not your girlfriend, boyfriend, other half, because that means you will be defined. Okay, so they're nothing. It's just a waste of time, and you genuinely are wasting your time and energy. And even not even in the idea that you could be looking for someone else, you could be just looking after yourself. And that is where we need to start, by looking after ourselves. Okay, so where do we go from here? A little bit of a story time. It's my story time. This is why I absolutely hate situationships, because I was in one. Hand up. I swear down. I could say it was many moons ago, but it was like probably like 2 years ago. But that's lots of moons, right? Like what, 24 moons ago. So 24 moons ago. But I swear, I don't know if I've done that. I'm doing this now. But I swear, I took a lesson and I learnt. And what I learnt has stopped me from getting in that position again. So, you know, yeah, a little bit different than usual, but listen up. So I had met this guy online. And it must have been about like 3-4 weeks. And you know, you think everything's going nice and giving you attention, saying that you're beautiful, all the right words. Yeah, I fell for it too. I mean, all of us do. People giving you attention, and you've got that intention in your mind to start a relationship. They say they're going to start a relationship with you, but we know that some people lie. Anyway, this guy had he lived far away from me, so we weren't like able to see each other regularly. However, I would always suggest let's do video calls, and you know, he was like, let's do WhatsApp as well, which we did. But of course, it was kind of me chasing him a little bit, you know, chasing for more attention. Anyway, I had said to myself at the beginning of this, when it's that not necessarily confusing, but everything's still up in the open, I'm going to give myself 5 weeks. And after those 5 weeks, I'm going to want definition into what this actually is. So when it came up to around that 5-week time, I remember it was near Christmas, and I volunteer at this children's centre, and we were doing this craft event, and it was really, really busy, you know, really popular. I swear this is relevant. It was really, really popular, and literally 10 minutes before, 2 volunteers called out. They were like, sorry, we're not well, can't come. And I was like, what? Literally, I could have like combusted right there. So I was like super stressful. I was taking on now 3 roles to try and make the day successful. Went well. For the event, not for me. That was just horribly stressful. Anyway, during that day, I was run off my feet, but I was able to send this guy a couple of messages, a couple of short messages, like, you know, busy day and blah, blah, blah. I can't remember what I said, but I was able to give him a couple of messages throughout the day. Because I wanted to, because I felt not necessarily obliged, but for me, that's the right thing to do. Because, you know, we had been messaging and we had been on WhatsApp and, you know, talking daily. Anyway, skip to about a week, maybe 10 days later. There was a day that I had messaged him in the morning, like we normally did, and he did not respond until maybe later in the afternoon. Now, this is something that happened before, but this is the kind of day that kind of made me realise, because when he did finally message, you know, and I can't remember what it was, but just to really kind of like, hey, how's your day been? I was like, whoa, dude, 8 hours. And he said to me, you know, it's not a big deal. You're overlooking it. Let's talk about how your day was. And I was just like, excuse me? Excuse me? You know, when I'm thinking back to how I was able to shoot a few messages to him when I was really busy and he could not reciprocate that, it made me take a big step back and realise we weren't on the same page. And I know some people might be like, well, he could have been busy, and, you know, everyone has different priorities in life, and I get it. But if someone is genuinely interested in you, they are never too busy, okay? I know he was working. He worked from home, but that doesn't mean he wasn't, you know, busy. However, everybody has 30 seconds in their day to message another person to let them know that they're thinking of them, that, you know, they want to tell them something, whatever it is. So even though that's kind of like, you know, sounds quite superficial, that made me take a step back and look into myself about what I wanted when in a situation of creating relationships, you know. And I came up with a standard for myself. What a lot of us do is create standards of what we expect the other person to do. But actually, the way in which we can communicate with ourselves is by making standards for us. So the standard I created, my boundary that I created was, if I can do it, you can do it. If you can't do it, we are not on the same page. Simple. That is it. I do not need to explain this to other people. I do not need to support them in learning how to do that. It's just what it is. Because when we start taking people by the hand, when they're going to be a partner, prospective romance, when we take them by the hand and start having to teach them basic things, one, we knock down what we want from a relationship, prioritizing them. And then we start like accepting really poor behavior, you know? This ideology of, if I can do it, you can do it. If you can't do it, we're not on the same page. That ideology applies to everything, okay? Communication. If I can communicate with you and say, hey, I can't continue this talk right now, I've got to go, whatever it is, you should be able to do the same too. Yeah, I mean, how many of us have been having a conversation with someone like on WhatsApp or, you know, dating app, whatever, and the person suddenly goes silent. Like, obviously they've just gone off and done whatever they need to do. And then that person picks it back up again in like, you know, in 2 hours, like 3, 4, 5, the evening, the next day. And they try and jump back onto that conversation. No, excuse me? No. Because if I can say, sorry, I've got to go, whatever it is, and you don't even have to give details for that. You don't even have to tell people that you're going to the shop, doing your homework, going to the gym. You can literally just say, hey, I'll catch back up with you this evening or whenever. They can do it too. Because when we get muddled up with going, now I have to explain it to them, are you forgetting that this is a grown adult that you're talking to? We are all adults and they should already come up with that. Okay, so that is why you're not explaining anything to them. And it's again also with reciprocating energies. So again with the communication, like, okay, look at this screenshot. So this is one of my pet peeves, absolute pet peeves. And I've got so many more on like my Badoo account, but you can't screenshot them. So we'll have to deal with this one, right? This whole, hey, you know, giving me attention. And then when it's your turn to ask a question, an open-ended question, it's literally pure silence. Excuse me, what is this pure silence about? What is this pure silence about? Now you're expecting me to fill in the gaps. And that is another thing on communication that I will not do. I will not fill in the gaps for other people. Because again, it's this mothering role. I'm not here to be your mum. I want someone who is emotionally available, someone who is emotionally responsible for themselves. Because when you are emotionally responsible for yourself, you kind of take other people into account and their feelings and how you can like hold yourself with them, if that makes sense. Excuse me, there's always a little fly. So I'm not going to be a mother. And I know this sounds, you're nitpicking, that's too much. No, when you are walking into a relationship, you need to walk into it with your eyes wide open. This is how we get into those problems, because we are dismissing little things that we say are trivial. But if a person can't have a proper conversation with you, okay, if they haven't got developed communication skills, yeah, what else are they going to be? What else is going to be amiss in that relationship when you continue, when you keep pushing on and you ignore this little sign and you ignore that little sign? So again, if I can do it, you can do it. If you can't do it, we're not on the same page. Simple. Apply this to everything with the effort. You know, if I can put the effort in to, I don't know, book somewhere for us to go for a first date, you can do the same thing too. Like I would expect to be taken on a proper date. But you need to not lower the standard because the other person is not offering that energy. So you need to actually listen to the expectations that you actually have and not let it go down because somebody else cannot stand up to where you are. Do not go down because they cannot come up. And that is the really important part of it. It's something that you need to practice, put it into action. So if you are on dating apps, it's a really good place to to practice that, to put it into action. If you are talking to somebody and they stop talking and they don't even respond for however many hours, and they try and jump back into the convo, don't even give them a response. Just try it. The world will not end, okay? Oh, they're cute. So what? So are you. Like, move on. There's other people that want to talk to you, and other people who actually want to be in a relationship with you. But the most important person to have a relationship is with yourself. We need to walk into relationships, however that might pan out, but you need to walk in there with intention, okay? Give yourself a timeline. Okay, after 5 weeks, 6 weeks, I need to have some definition of what's going on here, okay? And when you come to them 5, 6 weeks, you need to have that talk. Have that talk with that person, and have that talk with yourself. Have that talk. Is this good enough? Are you happy with how it's going? Because this is, as I said, how you walk into relationships, and you're by yourself. Who wants to be in a relationship by themselves? Because I don't. My hand's down. Opposed to being up, my hand's all the way down there. I don't want to be by myself in a relationship. Yeah, you want a partner who you see eye to eye with. You want a partner that you don't have to beg for attention. Like OP saying that it would have been fine if he had slapped a label on what their relationship is. Why do you want someone to slap a relationship label on you? No. And let me just reiterate from earlier. Situationships are not relationships, okay? Just because the spitty bit at the bottom of the bottle is liquid, it doesn't mean you can drink it. Just because somebody says, oh, I like you, if their actions are not aligning, then girl, boy, guy, people, move back, move on. Reflection time. I would like you to write down some of the standards that you have got or you have created in your life that are rock solid, that you will not change for anyone. It doesn't have to directly be about relationships, maybe on the romantic side. It could just be literally for platonic friendships. It could be anything. I want to hear the kind of standards that you have and how you apply them to your life. And where did that come from? What made you come to that place, and how has it been sticking to them? Because obviously when we've been doing things for a really long time, it just feels like second nature. But what prompted you to get there? If you haven't made standards, if it's not something you've ever thought of, it's never occurred to you, I want you to have a look in the comments and maybe choose one that you think would be right for you, that you would like to try to experiment with. And I really, really encourage you all to experiment with different standards, boundaries, because they're basically the same thing. Boundaries and standards are basically the same thing completely. So I would like you to actually practice them. So please do, if you have got something that you really stick by and that really works for you, I want you to put it down, because you will be inspiring other people in creating their own. Now, as always, I have got some links down here for you. And I'm starting to look at, of course, we would always have meditations, but also having talks as well. So have a look down at those links, because those links are really useful. So that is going to do it. I thank you for being here. I'm really glad that you guys are always coming over, and I hope if you're in a situationship, you have now gained a little insight, gained a little strength, and you've gained a little foresight to perhaps move away from them, make some changes, make some standards, because you deserve the commitment of communication, the commitment of a relationship, the commitment of being respected and valued as an individual, not just as someone who is going to be dragged along here and there. Now, if you feel so inclined, press that button down below and you will be notified as soon as my next video comes up, and that's going to be really soon. Look, I'm working on it already. Multitask, I can do it. And if you also feel so inclined, hit that like and subscribe button. There's two, not just one, two. And become an official part of the community. I am really glad that you are here. And if you don't want to, that's fine. If you just want to be here for the tea, for the goss, you do not need to do those speaking activities, those writing activities, the meditations. That's totally fine. I'm just glad that you are here. I'm glad you were on this ride with me. I hear you, I see you, and I feel you. That's going to do it. Until next time, bottoms up.